This bloke played as well. Shane Flanagan, the coach of now the St George Illawarra Dragons, joins us. G'day, Flano.
G'day, Jolly. How are you?
Mate, I'm going good, and well done to you, mate. You must be going good because the pen ink is just drying. Signed to the end of 2028. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I take it as an honour and a privilege to coach the Dragons. Coach in the NRL club is, you got to look at it like that. So, in charge of a lot of young men, but also responsible for getting the Dragons back up the competition table. I think it's a great challenge.
Yep, two clubs, ultimately the Steelers joined the Dragons, and famous backgrounds, the pair of them, and you are the coach, so it's quite the honour. And you're taking on this side, Flano, who only one coach in the history of the Sharks has ever lifted that trophy, and that's your good self, but you take them on. Does it feel a little bit different in Derby week?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I drive past the ground nearly every day to go home, so sometimes I feel it jumping out and peering through the fence and see what they're doing. But as I said, now I've moved on. As I said, I'm at the Dragons now, and we've got a big opportunity to continue. A bit of a late surge at the back end of the season against a footy side that if they get it on, they're hard to handle. So really looking forward to the challenge. It wasn't that long ago we played them, and I thought we went pretty hard at them for most of the game. It was their second half that got on top of us, and they ended up scoring a late try to blow it out to 12 points. But we're right in it to the 78th minute mark, and hopefully tomorrow we're in front at the 78th minute mark.
I tell you, I love the fact this game's at Cogra. Now, you mentioned that you drive past the ground a lot throughout your week. I think Fitzy lives down the Gong Way. So you guys might want to do a house swap next year for a little while. Flano, you can live in his house and he can live in yours for a while to make life a little bit easier. But what do we expect here from your team? How hard is it at this stage of the year? It's been such a long campaign. All these teams have been going at it since November.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape, mentally, and boys are really looking forward to play each week. You saw last week against Canberra, like they, stepped up to the challenge at home, down here at Wynn. I thought they were outstanding in tricky conditions as well. They really stepped up to the challenge, and tomorrow it's the same thing. We're playing against a side that if they're not in the top four, they're trying to get into the top four, and where we want to sort of show what we're about. And as I said, everyone's really excited. We've got a lot of injuries at the moment, but it gives young blokes an opportunity to show what their wares, and also gives them that opportunity to experience NRL, because the next coming years they're going to be in the team every week. So we get another bloke making his debut tomorrow, Hayden Buchanan in the centres. So that's exciting again. So really looking forward to seeing him play.
Okay, well, excellent. Looking forward to seeing him. I have heard, I know Brooksy, who produces the Run Home with Joel and Fletch, he's a big fan of young Hayden, so looking forward to that. What about new players for next year? So Dan Atkinson, we know he's coming. How many more pieces of the puzzle do you need to complete ahead of 2026, Flano?
Yeah, Daniel Atkinson's coming, and we'll also sign Josh Kerr during the week, so I feel that's a good signing. Big body, good leg speed. Probably got one of the quickest play the ball through a forward in the competition, so that'll help. Out one of our strengths in Damien Cook and Jacob Little getting out of dummy half. But we're still in the market, Joel. Where we want to try and get some elite talent to our club. We've got some elite talent emerging, but we need some older boys, in and around that 150 games that are playing Origin. I feel that even when I was at the Sharks, we had to go out and I had to get Michael Innes and Luke Lewis, and Wade was already there, but I just had to add a bit of spark and experience, Origin experience to our squad, and that takes you to that next level, and that's where I just feel we're at the moment. We just need maybe two Origin style players, and then we're going to be really in the fight.
Okay, now news last week, your old premiership halfback Chad Townsend retires, or is announced his retirement, which was quite the ride for him and for you, Flano, because you hooked him against Canberra in that first week of the finals. Then you've got the Cowboys coming up. Can you take us through that time? Because he ends up being your premiership winning halfback. How did that all play it?
Well, I actually gave Chad his debut as well. So we've had come from the juniors, and I gave him his first grade debut. And I thought at the time he played a bit of first grade, and then he went to the Warriors. Everyone seems to forget that little bit. He went to the Warriors for a while and came back a real man, moved away from home and his comforts, and came back to the Sharks. And, obviously, that year, 2016, had a really good year, and he was just off that day against Canberra. Threw a few balls over the sideline, and he was frustrated, and it was building. And we obviously it was a close game, and I had Jack Bird there, and I had some people on the bench that I could interchange in the centres. We used to carry a back on the bench back then, so it didn't affect us too much. I put one of the outside backs on and moved Birdie to 5'8" for the last 10 or 15 minutes and replaced Chad. At the time, it was a big call, but I just thought I had to do it. And in the end, it was the right call because, Chad spurred him on the next week. We played against the Cowboys and he played outstanding, and then obviously played outstanding in the grand final and won a premiership. So you make those decisions on the run sometimes, and you hope you're making the right one, but you just got to stick by it.
Just on the halfback situation now, this question would agitate you. It will agitate me, but I'm not doing my job if I don't ask the question. And I've been public on the run home with Joel and Fletch that I think Kyle's been your best half this year. I think he's had a very good year, Kyle. But you get people who, because of the surname, they're going to come after you. How tricky has that been to negotiate, Flano?
Yeah, it's been tricky. I can handle it. They can throw as much mud as they like at me. It won't stick, but I feel sorry for Kyle because he has had a good year and he works his butt off, tries that hard week in, week out. Kyle wasn't brought here to be our NRL halfback. When he came here, Ben Hunt was a halfback, and we know what happened there. So we've had to shuffle the deck chairs really quickly, and, whether he's my son or anyone else, if anyone watches, he's done a really good job this year. And, to handle it down the track, where he plays, he can play hooker, he can play halfback, he can play 5'8". So, down the track, I'm not quite sure where he'll end up, but at the moment he's doing a really good job. And, he's got the same surname as me, but he doesn't get any favours, Joel. He gets, has to play well each week and do his job, and I think he's done it this year. And, he's up for a big finish of the year as well.
Having chatted to some of your players privately in the past, they actually say it goes the other way. You're actually more stern on him, which it's kind of got to go that way, I suppose. Adam Dewey, we've missed out on him. Flano, he's re-signed with the West Tigers. There was chat around Trey Mooney. Is he still in discussion with the Dragons?
Oh, mate, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I'm really lucky we've got Daniel Anderson come on board as our recruitment manager. So it takes probably about 3 hours of phone calls and speculation about players wanting to come on away from my desk, that's for sure. So I'll leave that all up to Daniel, and when it gets close to making a decision whether we want a player or how much we want to pay the player, he comes to me and our recruitment crew. But at the moment, as I said, we're out there looking for quality players. Haven't sort of once the Adam thing sort of hit us yesterday, we'll move on to what's next. And as I said, we're after some classy players, and those players you talk about might fit the bill, but I'm not quite sure at the moment.
I've had about 17 missed calls from Brian Fletcher in this chat, and he's saying, check your texts. So I've checked my texts, and he said, ask Flano. He's on this campaign, Flano, which I've got to say, I actually quite like it. He wants kickoffs. He doesn't think we use the posts enough. And any fullback will tell you, if a ball's going anywhere near the post, it is tricky to negotiate. He wants goal kickers to start targeting the posts. So on behalf of Brian Fletcher, is there a chance, Flano, that we may see one attempt of that for the rest of the year? So everyone here at SEN can finally have that put out of our brains for 5 minutes.
He's a very, very, very smart plumber. The old
That's right.
Two plumbers. Mate, we actually used to do it a lot when James Maloney at the Sharks because, he had used to kick to his right-hand side most of the time, but nearly every second or third kick, he'd kick it at the post, especially when he saw teams set up over, for the halfback to catch it and the front row on the outside, or if the front row was on the inside, it was probably more, if he was on the post side, that it was more of an interest because they'd get confused and the front rower would probably try and go and catch it. Yeah. You know what happens there. It's disaster. So we used to do it a fair bit, but I think it's probably gone out of the game a little bit, but I love the idea. Beautiful.
Okay, Fletch, leave me alone now. You're a chance. You're a chance with that one. Okay, I'll take my own idea. Now, I've been banging on for years, which you won't have an opinion on this, and nor should you, but the buy points is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the game. They serve no purpose. So I've given up on that one. Okay, I can't get that one over the line. I've given up on that one. The next one I'm moving on to, Flano, and I'd love your opinion from a coach's point of view. I think the 18th man having to be activated is dumb. I just think that they're already dressed up, warmed up for the game, getting their match payments, etc. Why don't we just let the 5th player be there? And Shane Flanagan still only has the option to use 8 interchange cards. Do we need to have an activated 5th player?
Oh, well, I just think, if you're going to have, that's just saying we're having 5 reserves now, but you can only have 8 interchange. Do we need 5 reserves? We're changing the way the game's played a little bit. We're at the moment, I think we've got a good mix of, big men can still have a really importance, and so can the little man, the faster man can still have a, real impact on the game. You start changing numbers of, that you could, I'm just thinking quickly on my feet here, we could put that 18th man, we could just have a wrecking ball as our 18th, just go out there and cause havoc. For 5 or 6 or 10 minutes, and then that's all you use. That's what you're using for. But then, once again, you're changing the fabric of the game. You're getting blokes to play 10 minutes. Is that the way we want the game to go? No, I probably don't.
Okay, well, Fletcher's just texted. He said his idea is better than mine, so he thinks the goalpost kicking is a better option than what I've come up with. Flano, this is probably...
sure you'll have another idea before the end of the show, Joel.
I would back that in too, Flano. This is probably another one for Daniel Anderson. The signings of players, are you happy with the 30? Because we're seeing the soft tissue injuries at the moment. How hard is that as a coach? Is 30 still the number?
Oh, well, it's definitely not. We've got 10 of our top 30 out at the moment, and, we're talking about Hayden Buchanan making his debut. He's outside of our top 30, yep. So, he's... outside of that list, and we've definitely gone into that list by maybe 3 or 4 players this year. The 30 is really not the only group of players that you can pick from, but it's just the 30 related to the top tier salary cap. So, most clubs could, we used to 24 was probably a good number to use during a season, but as you said, with soft tissue injuries, we've had 2 ACLs, we've had 2 shoulder reconstructions. You chew your 30 up pretty quickly these days of how hard it is. And you saw last night, 3 hamstrings in one game.
Yeah, wow.
You wouldn't believe it.
Flano, well done on you, mate, extending your time. The Dragons, the text board's blown up today, and they are all largely in support of that. They're very confident to have you there at the helm. They're very happy to have a premiership-winning coach at the helm. There's not many of those premiership coaches hanging around, and the Dragons have locked you in to the end of 2028. It's a local derby coming up, means a lot to yourself, being the Sharks, the one and only Sharks premiership winning coach. It's at Cogra. I love that, Flano, because I think every time, yes, it's St George Illawarra, and Illawarra play a major part for this franchise. However, the local derby for me every year should be at Cogra when it is the Dragons hosting. It's a big game. You can get your tickets at Ticketek to see this local derby, the Sharkies and the Dragons. All the best, Flano, and once again, congratulations on the extension.
Good on you, Joel. All the best.